Yeah, I don't know why, but something is wrong. The TV is crazy and the truth has gone. I might be crazy, but I think we're done. There are people out there
For our country, for our children.
Something's wrong. It's on your Netflix. It's on your news. Even your neighbor has been hit. You can see it on YouTube. It's time to shine a light. Shine a light. It's time to shine a light on all the things they don't want you. Tom Generation Next. Oh, it's what's coming next. Tom Generation Next. Yeah. Tom Generation Next. The Honesty Channel. From Zero News to now. Tom Generation Next. It's gonna shine a light and share it with you. Propaganda, YouTube slander, TikTok gender, they on blend.
Following on from a video I made earlier and following on from a conversation that Ben and I had, I was thinking about what we were talking about with channels and people, maybe writers or whatever else, who are all contributing towards the lack of action right now towards a very, very real problem. So again, let's use the UTK marches as a frame of references. That happens, and then Keir Starmer's Barmy Army, which was already going fast enough, accelerates its tyranny. Our response, Danny Roscoe, UKIP, get out on the front lines, but other than that, very little. And you have channels talking about how we need more Aristotle in our society. And what I've come to realise is that some people, I really think some people may be just disconnected, and you know, I can hold them accountable for that, obviously, but I don't think there's any malice. But what I would also say is, in some cases, I think there's an attempt to look intelligent whilst actually committing intellectual laziness and cowardice, because people are trying to solve philosophical problems whilst there is an actual real-time threat, especially to working class people, happening right now. And I look at it in some people's cases, and it's hard to pick who's who, but you know, in some people's cases, as intellectual cowardice, intellectual laziness, as to try and solve problems that we don't have, whilst ignoring the massive ones facing us right now that we do, and not responding to the things that are happening, either through ignorance, which I don't know how that could be, but you have to consider it if you're not going to just damn someone, or fear. Because somebody wrote a comment on Vin's channel when me and Vin have been talking about the reality of a certain situation, which was civil war, and their comment was very simple: this is a frightening conversation. And whenever I've dealt with people in lives, whether they be maybe ex-drug addicts or just people that want to change their lives in different ways, the hardest thing for them to go through is the acceptance and change, and the willingness to change, because change means so many uncomfortable things that you'll just never feel prepared for, or don't feel prepared for. And I think that maybe there's an element with a lot of people that some of them have put up their head above the parapet. They've suddenly realised how real this is, and then they've taken the ostrich approach and they put their head under the sand, because it is actually frightening when you take yourself out of the cartoon bubble, out of the internet, AI, and actually think about the real situation we are facing with a government that is behaving the way it is, with a population that is as polarized as it is and under constant violent attack. When you put all these things together, you can see why what was a joke to me earlier on, I do now consider in some cases to be intellectual laziness and cowardice. There are problems to be solved right now. Those problems aren't that difficult, which is something that we keep repeating, but they could be said so much more eloquently by certain people, and would be rallied behind so much more. And the question is with some of them really is, what is it that's different from you to them that's making them able to sit back and sip champagne whilst all this is going on? And maybe it's the champagne analogy that is the problem. You know, people like to say to me, don't talk about class because we're all in this together, and we are. But at times like this is when you feel it. This is when you feel that class thing going on. And that's not to act like a victim or anything, because actually a lot of classes respect the working class. It's not about that, but you can feel it going on at times like this. I would just challenge those people to put those supposedly great minds to fixing the problems of right now, because the problems of right now, if fixed, will allow Aristotle and other things to survive in the Western world, will allow the Western world to survive. But until you have tackled the problems of right today, you can't be planning for tomorrow, because you'll be planning for a tomorrow that doesn't exist. So let's focus on today, because literally we've got almost every day we've got a new thing to worry about. And if we could have people's minds trained on those problems and sorting them quickly, it would be a massive difference and a morale booster for absolutely everybody, I think. I'm not telling people what to do. I'm saying there's just a lot of inaction where you would expect different. It's very odd. It's very odd. And like I say, I actually do wonder if there's a certain amount of fear, because nobody wants to be... Let me finish on this, because I don't want you to think that I'm also taking a swipe at people either. Maybe it is because the bigger people are afraid of looking like they are inciting violence, or that they are inciting a revolution. Perhaps they're afraid of looking how people have described them for years. Perhaps they're afraid of that. They're too centrist, and perhaps they're afraid of losing that perception of being fair-minded and of being, and it does make me wonder, part of what it is as well as the fear and stuff, if these people also, want to stay looking reasonable. And what they don't seem to realise is, when we've gone through every single option that we can, and we're faced with only a couple of options, and we're still choosing the most reasonable one, that is reasonable. When you're choosing the most reasonable option on the table, that is reasonable. So they need to wake up and realise what's going on and stop hiding from it. We're not, and I'm not ever claiming to be the bravest person in the world, but I'd rather know the world that I'm in than hide from it and pretend that it's something it's not. This is obviously just my opinion, this is my take, but some of the things that I'm saying, are absolutely unavoidable. You can see them just down the road, and so many of you already can. And again, let's get people stop being intellectually lazy, to not, to have a little bit more of the bravery that got them there. Yeah, many of the people that have climbed up through the ranks have got there through putting themselves, in harm's way. So let's see a bit of that bravery now when we need it the absolute most. Starmer has got people scared. They won't admit it, but he has. I've seen it. I've heard it. Refused to believe it, and I'm realizing now. No, you should listen to what people tell you more carefully, because people are scared of him. They are, and I think that's another part of why we're not seeing certain things from God, you could say thousands of people, because across the globe, the people who have interest in all this story is probably in the thousands. So yeah, there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some covering this in a similar way to us, but not many. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. I just submit this to you as something for you to think about. I've just been around a long time, I've done a lot of things, and I offer this to you as a thought experiment, which if you take away something from it, great. And obviously, you know what I'm driving for, so and I'm still driving for the same thing. I don't change just because the news cycle has changed. I'm Tom Fury, this is Tom's Generation X, and take it easy, everybody.
00 is goes, Tom Fury. Generation X with Tom Fury. It's a liberty that you are not on TV. Come and sit right me, and we'll have tea. Never mind the dying kids, or never mind the activist. When a bitch has got legs like this, and she look the stuff. Come on, mate, don't take the piss. I said, don't take the piss. I am sleeping. Oh yeah, I'm sleeping with this bitch, Tom Fury.